So today's video is about emails. So if you work in English and exchange with people in different countries, then you probably use English to write your emails. This can be sometimes a bit tricky, a bit difficult to decide which phrases to use. So the aim of this video is to try and break it down for you, give you some formal phrases for different parts of an email and some informal phrases for different parts of an email. Let's do it. So the topic of formality can be a little bit difficult to decide because you have many different degrees of formality. So is it the CEO of the company? Is it your colleague that you work with next to your desk every day? Is it a customer from outside the company? Is it a supplier you deal with, etc., etc.? So all of these you need to be able to judge a little bit for yourself. So we don't go into all of the details here, but what I'll try to do is just to give you a general guideline of business formal phrases and business informal. So I've broken the email structure down into different sections, and I'll give you two phrases for each section, two which are more formal and two which are more informal. So first line. The first line of an email where you address the person. So in a formal email, you may have seen dear. So dear Steve, for example. This is relatively formal. Personally, I rarely use dear. Maybe a client or a customer outside the company, maybe for first contact, you could use dear, but it is quite formal. And the informal alternative would just be hi. Hi, Steve. Okay, it's your colleague, you see him regularly. Hi, Steve. Another degree maybe below dear would be hello. Hello, Steve. So this is maybe second or third contact. Somebody you don't really know. They're still outside the company. You still want to be formal, but maybe you've had contact several times and you don't need to say dear every time because maybe it's a little bit too much. Another option on the informal side would be to add the word there. So, hi there, Steve. Something like this. This just makes it a little bit more informal too, a little bit more friendly, and gives a little bit more feeling to what you're writing. Now, after the first line, it's common in English to have a friendly opening. It's not an obligation, but in my experience, it's normally received fairly well if you're friendly at the beginning. So on the formal side, you can just say, how are you? I'm sure you all know this question. It's the standard question, how are you? To make this a little bit more informal and familiar, you can say, how are you doing? But the problem with this is if you ask this, then you ask them a question and they need to respond. And if you're doing business interactions, you have other more important things to talk about than if the person's well or if they had a nice weekend, etc. So an easier way to have the same result, instead of asking a question, would be to say, I hope this email finds you well. So again, we've been friendly, we're being nice, it's a nice introduction, but the person doesn't need to respond and say, yes, I'm well, thank you, and I hope you are too, etc. You can get more down to business, but the same effect is achieved. And a similar thing from the informal side, you could simply say, hope you're doing well. It's the same idea, hope you're doing well, but just a little bit more direct and friendly. Now, perhaps with your email, you're responding to an email that you already received and you want to make reference to the email that you received. So here we'd make a reference to previous contact. On the formal side, you could say, thank you for your email. And to simply change this to a little bit more informal, you could say, thanks for your email or thanks for your message. So not everybody knows this, but thank you and thanks, if you say thanks, it's an informal way of saying thank you. So if you're writing to a client, etc., the first time, then it's probably better to say thank you rather than thanks. Another option, if you want to make reference to a previous discussion that you had, you could say further to our discussion, or following. Further to and following are very similar. Further to our discussion, or following our discussion. For example, further to our discussion, I am sending you the quote that you asked for. And to make this more direct and more informal, you can say, as discussed. As discussed, I'm sending you the quote you asked for. So the reason for writing. You want to introduce and explain why you're contacting this person. For a formal email, I would say, I am writing with regards to. With regards to, it's similar to regarding. On the informal side, you can go directly with regarding. Or to be even more informal, sometimes in English we just say re. We just take the re, the re, the first two letters of regarding, and say re project X. Okay, and this just is an abbreviation for the word regarding. Another option for a more formal reason for writing is I'm contacting you about. Notice here for both these options we use the present continuous. If you're not sure why, check out this video here on the present simple versus the present continuous. Informal, you could say just a quick note to say. Okay, just briefly, direct, straight to the point, just a quick note to say that the meeting for tomorrow has been cancelled. Now, requests, often when you write an email, you want to ask somebody to do something for you. For a polite version of this, you could say, could you please? Could you please send me the figures from yesterday's discussion? And if you want to be more direct, again, formal option, can you? Okay, can, it's a more direct version of could. So, can you send me the figures from yesterday's discussion? To raise the formality a level, could use another more formal construction and say, I would be grateful if you could. So I would be grateful if you could send me a copy of the minutes of the meeting. This is very nice, very polite. It's a nice way to communicate with people that you don't know very well. And to make this more informal, it would be great if you could. Still polite, still positive, just a little bit more direct and familiar with the language great instead of grateful, etc. Okay, on the other side of the coin, maybe you want to offer something, you want to offer help, you can suggest that you do something. On the formal side, would you like me to? Would you like me to book a room for tomorrow's meeting? To make this informal, do you want me to? Do you want me to book a room for tomorrow's meeting? Another option to make it a little bit more formal, again, if it helps, I would be willing to. If it helps, I would be willing to contact the supplier on your behalf. For you, essentially, if we say on your behalf, for you. And willing, it means I'm ready, I'm happy to do this. If you'd like me to do this, I'm happy to do it. So willing, it's a nice positive word. It means that I accept to do this willingly. I'm happy to do it for you. And on the informal side, you can say, shall I? Shall I contact the supplier for you? The same meaning, again, changes in formality. Now, coming to the end of the email, your final comments. Okay, you've said what you needed to say, the essential, and you want to start to finish the email. On the formal side, should you need any more information, please let me know. Now here, should replaces the word if. You can say too, if you need any more information, please let me know. But to make it more formal, you can replace the word if with the word should. And here in this context, should, it means if. Again, this is a nice construction which is more formal when you communicate in English. On the informal side, very direct again, let me know if you need any more info. So we can do this with the word information. We often abbreviate the word to just say info, just to make it short and direct and save time. It's okay in the informal context. Second option on the formal side, please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. And informal, just give me a call if you need anything. Again, friendly, direct. As you can see, to be informal, you can be much more direct. And to be formal, you need to be a bit more wordy, to use more words to construct it. Now, a friendly close. We have a friendly opening. It's nice to have a friendly close too. English people like being friendly in general. It's a big generalization. Not everybody's friendly, but on the whole, it's acceptable and it's almost expected that you're friendly when you communicate via email with English people. So the formal one is, I look forward to hearing from you soon. If you're new to this expression, you can check out this video on key expressions in English, where it's explained in more detail. but this is very common at the end of an email to have a positive, friendly closing. Be careful with the tense. It's the present simple here. You might expect it to be the present continuous. In a formal context, we use the present simple here to accentuate the formality of the situation. So I look forward to informal emails, not I'm looking forward to. On the informal side, you could simply say, speak to you soon. Another example, another option for the formal side, thank you in advance for your help. Okay, remember, thank you and not thanks for the formal side. So simply on the informal side, you could just say, thanks for your help. Now, really, to bring the email to a close, you just need your last line. So it's very common. Most people finish their email simply with best regards. Sometimes you might see yours sincerely if you read different types of books, but this is, for me, it's more for letters, very formal letters, maybe a job application or a cover letter for your CV. Then you might see yours sincerely. For me, in emails, it's a little bit too much. You don't really need to use this in an email context, in my opinion. Informal side, you can say all of the best. Still nice, it's still business. It keeps it in the business context, all the best. Personally, I like to use this one. One more option, you can just say regards. You don't have to be kind. You could say best. Sometimes you see best regards, different types of regards. But the options are all really variations of regards. And another option on the informal side, which I like too, is the word cheers. Now, you might be confused by this because perhaps you know the word cheers for when you have an alcoholic drink and you make a toast to say cheers. So it is that word, but in a different context. We're not suggesting that you have a drink. So the word cheers, at least in British English, it can be used as a replacement for thank you, but more thanks. It's an informal way of saying thanks. And we also say it when we say goodbye. It's common you say, okay, goodbye, cheers, see you later. It's kind of thank you, goodbye, combined in one word when you leave. But you can also just mean thanks. If somebody makes you a cup of tea and they give you the tea, you can just say, cheers. And it's just a way of saying thanks. So you can use this at the end of your emails too. If you have regular contact with people, instead of regards, you can just replace it with cheers. It's kind of thank you and goodbye combined into one word. So it works well at the end of an email. So that's it for today. I hope that will help you with your future emails and you can focus on the content of your emails rather than the language aspect. If you structure your emails around these questions, then hopefully your communication will be clearer. As always, feel free to contact us with any questions. As a reminder, the Balkan School, we're here to help you with your language needs. We're in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. If you're interested in having any more information about language courses, these videos, then please, you can contact us on these details here or on the details you'll find in the description below. So thanks for tuning in, take care, and until next time, bye bye.